Do you want your CV to get you as many interviews as possible? Well, then you've come to the right place because today I'm going to show you how to write a standout CV. Make sure you watch this video to the end to learn the 6 things that you need to change on your CV to start landing interviews. Hi, welcome to my home. My name is Jo Randolph and I'm a career trainer based in London who helps millennials find work they love and become great at what they do. On this channel, I share everything you need to know on how to do meaningful work and increase your income. If you want to learn how to do this, make sure you subscribe and join me on this channel because I post new videos every single week. Anyways, let's get right into it. The fact that you're watching this video tells me something. It tells me that you're frustrated with writing a CV, and what's most frustrating about it is that even when you put in all this time and effort, you don't get many callbacks for interviews. And this sucks. So the big question is, how do you start to stand out and actually try and get as many interviews as possible? The first thing I want to do is address why your CV is getting ignored and rejected, and it's this. That your CV doesn't show recruiters why they should hire you. This may sound obvious, but it's something that many people don't know how to do. They think they're personalizing their CV and think that this is enough to get them the interview, when in reality it's not. Many companies get tons of CVs. It's been estimated that on average only 2% of applicants actually get invited to an interview, so that's really low chances. I was talking to my husband about this the other day, and he went to Yale University, and he said that when he applied to university, 8% of applicants got a place. Now, if it's easier to get into Yale than it is to get a job online, that's pretty tough. The big question is, how do you write a standout CV? Well, I first want to kind of redefine what a CV is for you and how you should use it. Because a mistake I see many people make is they use a CV in the same way that I think school maybe taught them, and that's if school even taught us at all. Like, let me know, did school ever teach you about CVs? Because I don't really recall being taught that much. But one thing I know for sure is that a lot of people think a CV is just a summary of your skills and your experience, when it is not. Well, technically speaking it is, but you do not want to write your CV like it's just a summary of your skills and your experience. And the reason being is that you want your CV to give someone a reason as to why they should hire you. And if you simply list your past experience and your skills, it's not clear why they should hire you over other people. Now, the next question then is, well, how do you show that you want to be hired? Well, I actually have a system. Your CV needs to commit murder. Now, by murder, I don't mean it needs to kill someone, because obviously that would be awful and I don't recommend hurting any soul or any person, but you want a killer CV. And the only way to write a killer CV is for it to commit murder. Now, murder is an acronym I use for the 6 things put into your CV in order for it to land you as many interviews as possible. Now in this video, I'm going to share as much as I can, but because of time, I'm not going to be able to go into full depth and really explain things in detail. Now, if you want to learn how to write a CV that makes you stand out and that communicates why a company should hire you, then I invite you to sign up for my Get the Job training. It's a free online 5-day training where I send you much more detailed information on how to do this. Simply go into the description box and click on the link. Okay, so M. M starts for make it organized. Now, many CVs aren't organized. A lot of people just kind of brain dump their experience, they brain dump their education, and they kind of put things where they think they should go, but there isn't really a logical structure. Now, the problem with making it not so organized is that it's not very easy to follow, and we're actually making it harder for the recruiter to see why they should hire you. Now, how you make it organized is that you follow this simple structure. And that is, first you start with a profile summary. So write something about yourself, what you do, and why they should hire you, but I will go into more in that detail on later. The next thing that you want to do is you want to write down your experience, and then you want to write down your education. But if you are a student, you want to first start, put your education before your experience, because chances are you probably haven't got a job that's very relevant. So instead switch it up. But if you've been a professional for a couple of years or more, then start with your experience. And then you want to have a separate section of the skills that you have to make sure that it's blatantly clear what skills you have they're looking for. And then you want to have a separate section for your achievements. But it's important that this achievement isn't necessarily tied to your job, because that just confuses the recruiter. So you want it to be something that you've done in your spare time, but that illustrates something like leadership or success or achievement in something outside of work. The next thing that you also want to have is your interests. So that's that. Now we need to move on to U, which stands for use all the right hashtags. Now if you use social media, you'll know what hashtags are. And even though when you're applying for a job, they don't use hashtags, I use the phrase hashtag to define basically all the key phrases, all the keywords, all the key things that they say they are looking for when they have posted that job. So that means going through the job description in detail and trying to really make sure that all the things that they are looking for, you have communicated throughout your CV. That brings me on to the next point, which is R, which stands for relevance and results. When you apply for a job, a lot of other people will probably apply having had similar responsibilities to yourself, which makes it very difficult for you to stand out, because a recruiter will see maybe 100 applications where everyone, not everyone, but let's say at least 50% of the people that have applied have all had similar responsibilities. For example, if you're a waitress and you're applying for a job as a waitress, and you've been a waitress before and other waitresses and waiters are applying, then all of you will have basically had similar responsibilities. Now, how does a recruiter know which one to pick out of all the people that have done essentially the same things? And that's why you need to kind of make your experience section much more compelling. And the easy way to do that is to write about responsibilities that are very relevant to the job, and most importantly, where you show results. Basically, numerical things that you've been measured by in your previous job that you can essentially put into your experience. Because that really helps to show that not only have you had the responsibilities, but that you've had relevant responsibilities for the job and you've been extremely good at what you do. And then there's D. D stands for dumb it down. This is particularly relevant if your profession is something that requires specialist knowledge, education, and training. And you've basically learned acronyms or words that people in your club, in your society, in your world, they understand what it means. But if I or somebody else was to kind of overhear and eavesdrops what you were talking about, I probably have no clue. Now that is not something that you want to do on your CV. What you may not realize is that the person receiving and examining your CV might not have that knowledge. So you really want to avoid using acronyms or stuff that they won't understand. And then E stands for elevator pitch. Now this is so important. Now I can't really go into depth onto how you write an elevator pitch because that is a whole other video. If you want to learn how to do this, then sign up for my free Get the Job training, because in there I go into depth on not only how to write an elevator pitch, but I also show you how to get the job you want. But for now, what I will say is that an elevator pitch is a 1 to 2 sentence statement where you show someone why they should hire you. Now the reason why this is important is that if someone picks up your CV, the first thing that they see is so important. And if the first thing they see is your profile summary, which I mentioned earlier, and in that profile summary, because this is a mistake, a lot of people use the profile summary to just say who they are, like I'm hardworking and I have these skills. Now the challenge is putting that is that a lot of people say they're hardworking and a lot of other people say what skills they have. However, if you say I am this type of professional and I do this type of work and these are the types of results I've helped other businesses get, then you immediately stand out because you're immediately showing not only who you are, but also the types of results you've helped other people get. And if that's the first sentence that a recruiter sees, then you're immediately drawing them in and you're convincing them that your CV is definitely worth reading. And then there's R, which stands for readable. You want your CV to be so readable. And by this, I mean it's digestible and someone can literally within less than 60 seconds, they know who you are, what you do, and why they should interview you. So you really want to make sure that you're doing the basics, Because if you do the basics and you make sure that your font is right, the size is right, everything is aligned, and you write things in bullet points instead of paragraphs, then you make it super easy for someone to read it, and it won't feel like work or anything like that. If you write a CV that commits murder, i.e. it follows all these 6 things. So let's recap. So that's M, which is for make it organized, U, which is for use all the right hashtags, R, which is for relevance and results, D, which is for dumb it down, E, which stands for elevator pitch, and R, which stands for make it readable. If you do all those 6 things, I guarantee you, my friends, you will land more interviews than ever before. Now that's not it. You may think that's it because you're coming to the end of the video, but now that you've kind of worked on the CV, then next thing for you is to really try and prepare for the interviews. If you want to learn how to prepare for your interviews, and if you want more help with your CV, then sign up for my Get the Job training, because in there I go into depth on how you can get your job in 30 days and increase your income by up to 40%, which is absolutely awesome. Anyways, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe. But I'd really love to hear from you. What has been the most challenging thing about writing your CV? Is there anything I've missed out? Let me know and leave it in the comment box below. And I'm so glad you're here. I talked pretty fast today, but I'm so glad you're here and that I got a chance to talk to you in this moment. So thanks so much for watching. Lots of love.